All right, just real quick, because of our conversation, I'm gonna do this like slow and from a different angle, so you can see how to do the recasts and the difference between the twist or wrap and what we're calling the helix. All right. So from the side, you know, this is out here doing whatever it's doing. Um, the twist is like taking your hand and going like this. So you can do it real subtle just by a motion, but that's basically what you're doing. Now, you can the way that we're training to do it, you're doing that next, right? So you're reversing, and that's to get you better at just that real subtle ability to switch it. But the truth is, if you were to try to cast it from here, it's pretty difficult. Like I got a little bit off, you know what I mean? But that's not what I want to know. That my range is all the way out there. So, actually, let me getting ahead of myself here. So now here's your helix, right? And I was talking about how from this helix we can strike and then return, right? And I kind of maybe I went through like kind of quick through the whole like if you try to strike and use the wrap, you kind of get out of control when you try to go fast. Like you can use the wrap, like hit the brakes on like whoa, it's not working, or like stopping that, or even like you want to make a fist pack out of it, you can, like just straight up bop. And so that's where casting kind of starts. Is like you'd be like whoosh, and then you're like, well, how do I like punch this line off me? Well, you can't just do that wrap again, right? You kind of have to do the helix down, and then you can strike out. But obviously, like you get that down, it's like comes out of the sleeve and goes. So that's how that like okay, if you're going to use the wrap to strike, you're basically going to be going like this, right? Over, under, or under, over, around. Okay, these are all like your typical like wrap type strikes, because you're going to have to intercept them with a wrap or interrupt them with a wrap. And you see like the really cool guys that like do it on their leg and their neck and stuff, but I'm not gonna do that. My hair looks like way too good for messing around like that today. And plus, at the angle that my leg's at, this particular chain isn't long enough to reach all the way down there and do that. That angle too, that 90-degree angle, you'll find a lot like. Let's see if I can show you without. A lot like this. That's not some kind of fancy knot tied. That's literally just because I hit it at that angle, and it's gonna stay up there until I decide to take it down. But I'm using it for something else right now. Okay, so the final part that was what the real question was how am I going, like strike, 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 strike. Now look at it from the side, right? Because I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. Right? It's kind of like, and I'm going to do it exaggerated, it's kind of like this. That's why I was saying you got to kind of start from being able to go like this. But did you see how on the way in okay, so I'm not using a wrap, right? I'm like, it's not like that. I'm using that helix. So one of the more subtle ways to use the helix is to be able to cast it out and then in that inertia, so that inertia stops. Actually, I'm not using the same inertia when I strike, right? I'm just basically using that helix. We over exaggerate it with like the DNA, but when we're doing this, we're not returning to that every time, right? And then we can switch over in the middle of it because we can do the helix, because that's that slack control, right? Do it right. Oh, you can't really see that. That's that. I hit him in the face, but now I got slack in that line. So you need that helix, right? Because if you're doing a wrap and it goes bang up against something, who knows where it's going next? You know what I'm saying? And it's tight still. And when that line's taut, even if it's at an angle, right? Even if it's gonna wrap around and do all kinds of weird stuff. The helix is like, nah, you're not doing that, right? Like, you strike, and then you're like, nope. You see how the difference was, right? It's so subtle. But also, too, at the same time, you're reversing the strike. I don't like that camera angle. Reversing the strike, you see? So you can go strike, 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 and then wrap, 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 and then helix strike, right? And then you'd be up here like doing kind of like a combination pull. So like you're coming in to box like you normally would. You got this thing wrapped around your arm, and you're like, you know, bam, 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 and then you get back, bam, bam, stay away. And then they're still coming, so you go, oh, well, fuck it. You wrap up their head, you pull them back. Well, anyways, I'm getting all excited. I just wanted to show you how that multiple strike works a little better. That I'm doing it slow, but as you can see, it's not a wrap strike. You know what I mean? Or like, it's not one of these like you do with the mace. It's one of these with that helix. Exaggerated, strike, exaggerated, strike, exaggerated to the inside, strike. But we're just using one little part of it. See how smooth that can be, even though there's tons of slack in there. And that's because of what? This. But don't confuse that, because you don't go like this and then stick your arm in it to do a wrap. You can, but you're gonna have to pull it tight. Whereas the actual wrap itself is taking your hand like this. So it's more for striking, blocking. You know, like you were, when I was practicing it, I literally did plum flower as it was like in our school that I originally trained in. But whatever you do, think of it that way. Like if you're a boxer, you gotta be able to go bam, 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 and then you're like bam, bam. Could be carrying it right here and go bam. It's all over your fist, right? So probably gonna delete that last part before I go public with it. I got a little goofy, but I just wanted to real quick send this over to you so you can check it out later.